I completely agree. The first appointment, and I guess I shouldn't care, but I felt so bad for everyone. Like part of me wanted to go to every person and explain Mom's situation, because I know it had to be surreal to see any adult act so erratically, say things that didn't make sense, show clear, agitation for no apparent reason. So I felt all that. I wore all that. I shouldn't, but I did. So on this appointment, Dad and I get there ahead of time to meet Mom. I went to the desk and tried to tell them, that Mom is on her way, that we have an appointment, and that she has very erratic behavior. She gets very agitated and confused, and they might want to let us go ahead and go into a room while we wait. And I could tell, like, she looked at me like she didn't think I knew what I was talking about, or that I was insulting her by trying to tell her what to do, if that makes sense. Like, I just kind of felt like she didn't receive it very well. And so of course they just had us sit out there with everybody else, and that's fine. I mean, I do see everybody kind of glance and look confused. Some get it, especially if they've had it in their family. But for some of them, it's a real culture shock. And again, it's really not important. I know that, but yeah, I had the same thoughts. I really did. And I really tried. In the very beginning, we always brought Mom down and would get her a little treat there. It's before we started bringing her meals. And I was getting Mom ready, getting her little jacket on to bring her downstairs. And Michelle came up to me, her roommate. And I have such a hard time understanding what she's saying, but I could tell she was asking me something. And she pulled out from her little shirt an empty bag of the Fritos Twist. And so the minute I saw that empty bag, I was like, oh, do you want me to bring you a snack? And she kind of indicated, that's what she was trying to tell me. And she pulled out money. She had exactly enough money for me to get them out of the vending machine. So after Mom and I visited downstairs, I brought her a bag of those Fritos Twist. And she was very, thank you, and very kind. And I could tell she was pleased. I never did it again. She never asked again. But I thought about starting to bring her something at that point. But I just didn't know. I really didn't know how I wanted to proceed. We were still kind of new there. I didn't want for her to always think I was going to bring her something even when she didn't ask. So I never did again. And she never asked again. Fast forward to Mom breaking her hip. And so now our visits, especially in the beginning, while she was healing, she was always in the bed. And the very first visit of Mom being back home in the nursing home, and I went to visit her and I brought her canes. And I set the bag down and I'm, fixing Mom's bed and getting her table ready, wiping the table down, wiping her hands. And Michelle got up and I could tell she was animated and happy. But I just never understand what she's saying. So I, just spoke to her and continued to get Mom ready. When I brought the Cane's food and put it on the table, Michelle sat down with a big old smile on her face in Mom's side. And I looked at her and she pointed at the Cane's bag and said something, but it was clear she wanted some of Mom's food. So I fixed her a little plate, told her to go, get on her bed, and that I would bring her a snack. And I brought her a snack and she was very pleased. And I knew there was no way from that point forward I was going to bring Mom a treat and not have something for Michelle. I can't do that. And so, now I order a little extra and give it to her. She's always sweet about it. She's always saying thank you. She understands me turning her TV down volume wise and handles it really well, because I don't think she can hear the TV, and I'm sure with Mom and I talking she can't hear it anyway. But yeah, I mean, she's a real sweetheart. She's a blessing. I know others have talked about Mom possibly having to move, or wanting Mom to move to a different room, but honestly, every single room is going to come with its own obstacles based on that roommate. And this is not a facility where you get to stay by yourself. You must have a roommate. So to have Mom stay with someone who maybe doesn't understand as much as Michelle seems to, I would be more concerned about Mom, to be honest. Is the TV loud? Yeah. Others have suggested getting earphones for Michelle. I think Michelle probably could understand it, but unfortunately the majority of the people in that ward would not. And if Michelle put them down, they would be gone. So I don't think that's an option. I really don't. Turning the TV down is really all I have. And thankfully she has a roommate that understands and doesn't mind. So she's a sweetie. I consider it a blessing that she's there with Mom. This is probably very true. It really is. But what's the solution? You have 9 times out of 10 in that memory ward, there are 2 people that are in there at all times. I don't know if they're CNAs, I don't know if they're aides, but they're almost always there. And there are times when I've asked one of them a question and they kind of indicate that the other woman is in charge of Mom. So I'm assuming 2 people are there. One is in charge of half of these ladies, the other is in charge of the other half. I don't know how many kids. I don't know how many residents are in there. I'm thinking 12, maybe. Could be more. So they're both in charge, 6 each. You go from resident to resident to resident to do the things that need to be done. Each resident's going to be different. There's challenges with each one. Mom's challenge is she does not like them and she fights them at all times. So yeah, I walk in and Mom is tilted with her little head resting on the side. I don't love it, but I don't consider that neglect. Could it be neglect? Yeah, it could be. If Mom was yelling or hollering or in pain and no one was tending to her, that would be a problem. But if Mom is just laying there on her side, unless they go in there or pass by, they're not going to know. And for the most part, if she's not complaining, to try to right her is going to have her spitting mad, especially if it's them and not me. I don't love it. No, I don't like that she tilts like she does. I can try some things, a pillow. I cannot tell you if that pillow is going to remain there. I can't tell you if Mom's going to be the one that takes it and puts it somewhere else. She has no understanding of those things. And even as you saw, as the visit progressed, she continually tilted to that side. Yeah, no, I don't love it. I don't like it. I wish there was a better answer for it. I don't feel like it's neglect. Understaffing, maybe. But even then, you could miss that somebody has slid over to the side if they're not fussing. It's just awful. You know, all of it's awful. It's not fun. Thanks for saying that and for getting it. It's true. It's really true. I get a lot of suggestions and a lot of comments. Some are harder to receive than others. But I get a wealth of information that is helpful. I get insight that is helpful. I get ideas that are helpful. And I appreciate that. And that is the benefit of this community that we've built here. But yeah, I mean, I get lots of comments that aren't nice. I smile when I see you guys answer those for me. It just is what it is, you know? But sometimes I actually come back looking for opinions and ideas and how can I handle it. Doesn't mean I'm going to accept them all, and it doesn't mean I'm going to jump to them. But I weigh them and I think them through. I am not in a panic. I am not in a rush with Mom. As long as she's not in pain, I will proceed slowly and try to make the best decisions that I can for her, for me, for Dad. But yeah, you guys are my people. So when I share it with you, I am sharing it to find out your thoughts, to see how you handled it or how you think you would handle it, to find out from professionals who are watching these videos that come on, you know, what are you doing in your facility? How is it working in your facility? I'm watching, I'm reading. Sometimes it's at red lights, or you know, I'm in the car, or I'm waiting for something, so I can't always respond, but I do pay attention, and I appreciate the wealth of experience and ideas that are presented to me by you guys. I love y'all. I did. I really did. It's not an eclipse, but I did. I brought a magazine and she received it. It was right after she just sat there and stared at us literally forever. Like, that was so odd. She just kept looking at us. Like, I don't know. I still can't quite put my finger on it. Sometimes I'll find her looking at us and I feel like she's just taking it in. And this was like a fog, almost like a trance. Like, it was odd. It was different. But towards the end of that, after she used her left hand and we got a kick out of that, I pulled out a magazine and gave it to her. And it kind of perked her up. She looked through the magazine. She made a couple of comments that didn't make any sense. But you know, it kind of got her opened up a little bit. I normally have a few things, fidget toys, treats, you know, something in my bag to distract her. At that point, I went ahead and pulled it out. But before that, I really just kind of wanted to see just what was going on. She just was so calm and content to stare at me and Dad, who were just sitting up against the wall like her little audience. So yeah, I did though. I brought her something. I hope y'all are enjoying that I've taken this time to reply to comments in my lovely tiger shirt. Go Tigers. What am I responding to here? Oh, yes. Yeah, and you know, it took me a second. It really took me a second to figure out to turn Mom around. I don't always do well in those situations. I remain calm. But when I walk into a place like that and I'm trying to get her kind of a little space in a very crowded waiting area, I picked the back right corner because it was empty. I didn't love that spot, but yeah, there was a slideshow above my head on a TV and it was loud. There were people on gurneys. There were people everywhere. I was just still trying to process it, and I just had to get her in this small little waiting area. And so, yeah, it kind of took me a while, and as you see in the video, I finally do figure out to turn her around. But at the time, it just didn't hit me at first. I get stressed, and I'm trying to make a good decision, and sometimes I don't. But I do try to correct it when it finally hits me. So, I tried.